All right, Victor, thanks for coming on today, man. I appreciate it. We're just a couple days as of recording off of the big BQ.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for all your help.
Yeah,
You're
of course.
exactly what the doctor ordered.
No, I appreciate that. And I think, this one's so cool and for so many reasons, right? Like you just turned 50, got the BQ at Ventura 319, right? And we've got some big goals for the rest of the year. And I'm sure we'll talk about that throughout. But I just wanted to hear from you what it was like, getting to maybe 20, maybe 18, 20, 22 miles, being like, I'm on this, I'm here. Like, I can do this. Because it's such a rewarding feeling for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of work to come through and see it right there. What was that like for you?
I think it uh, built off of the program you built me when we first connected in November, I believe, which
Yeah.
which was the fact that I tend to overtrain. And when you don't really have a program, you're using like I run a lot of ultras, so that's kind of
Yeah.
my primary food group.
Yeah.
So when I wanted to Boston qualify, I knew that I didn't want to get on the starting line overtrained. So you really helped me design a program where you're like, hey, don't give me this 20-mile long run says no more than 2 hours 45 minutes. I'm like 2 hours 45 minutes. Like so we really held a healthy baseline. And I used that same thought process during the race, which is hold it, be patient, be patient, be patient. And I have to be honest, I felt good the entire way up until probably even at mile 20, I was like, I feel pretty good. Should I push? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I kept a really healthy distance from the pacer in front of me, about 30 seconds to 45 seconds, maybe a minute. And I just kept that distance. And I was like, no, you hold it until 23. Don't push yet. Don't push yet. And then at 23, I started to go slightly under my hovering pace, which is anywhere between high 720s to 745. And I never looked at my heart rate the whole race, never.
Yeah.
I set some alarms to beep beep, within a range. And then 23, I let go. 24, 25, 25, I felt a little calf like
Yeah.
tingle. Then I slowed it down just a tad. And then when I saw the finish line, I'm like, dude, there's no way I'm gonna cramp. So I then picked it up.
Gotta go.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
so I learned a lot from you in terms of the emphasis. I think we had a chat 3, 4 days before
Yeah.
the run where you're like, you got to take it easy in the first, 13, 14, 50 miles. Like, just take it easy. Start off 750. 750? And I was like, all right, let's do it. So I kept it slow. I never charged uphill and I never picked up speed at corners. So I thought those two little tricks was useful.
Yeah. And I mean, I loved your pacing graph when it came through on Final Surge. I was like, nailed it, perfection, good to go. Like even
Oh,
before
I
I had
was
any context, from chatting afterwards. But I think I love to highlight that for people because for so many people that have been like chasing a breakthrough and they're like, I got to be on pace and I got to hold the line and I got to be right there. You're just another example of like showing if you ease up a little bit in the first bit, it's so much easier to be in it. And like, it's nothing to be 10, 15 seconds off at a couple miles in, but be feeling so good and right there. And like the confidence builds from that.
you did the math for me. You always, voice of reason. You're like, hey, even if it's 10, 15 seconds, it's only 30, 40 seconds. That is true. But in our head, we're like, oh my God, I'm going to be behind. But the
Yeah.
net effect is a minute, 35 seconds.
Yeah.
In retrospect, you're looking at a 3 hour-ish run.
Mm-hmm.
I think,
Well,
yeah, that.
I'll look at it too and go, you could beat it halfway and be bang on and be like, oh, I'm holding on and I got to do that again and I know what's coming, right? Or you could be halfway, like, 30 seconds, a minute off and be like, I'm actually feeling pretty good. I might be able to actually pick this up. And just that like shift in mentality for looking at the second half of the race, I find gets you to 2021 going like, this isn't bad. This isn't bad. And just like that shift makes you go, I can do this. I can do this. And it's like, that's a great mindset to have in the last 5, 6 miles.
Yeah, and I actually went up to the pacer.
Yep.
I'm like, how are you running this? And he's like, slow, fast, slow, fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, actually, I said, you running even pace? He's like, no, slow, fast.
Yeah.
So I pulled back. I was like, first, I was like, what does slow, fast mean? I mean, obviously, I know slow,
Yeah.
fast. So then we started running, and I was like, you're running too fast for me, you know? So I just, the entire pack stuck with me.
Yeah.
Because I train alone, so I'm so used to running by myself. I'm kind of comfortable, just like,
Yeah.
you know, I like maybe 30 feet away from you, something like that. And sure enough, I passed them mile 24, the
Yeah.
entire pack. So, sometimes you just got to run your own race, stick in your own head, because the pacer could be running too fast, or,
Yeah.
of course they finished in 3:20, but
Sure.
that's his style of running,
Yeah.
you know. Yeah.
And one thing I want to commend you for, I feel like I've got lots of athletes who are like this, it seems, but you traveled a lot during this build, like from home to East Coast, West Coast, everywhere, right? And
Yeah.
I don't think you missed a run the whole build. Like, and what's that like? Because you are obviously so dedicated on the entrepreneurial side with what you're doing, and I
Yeah.
do want to touch on the parallels between entrepreneurship and running, but you're dedicated to that. You get your runs in. You're dedicated to your family. We've had plenty of conversations about the support from your beautiful family and such. And so, what was that like being able to traverse the USA basically throughout this build and run in so many cool cities and spots?
So I traversed the USA and the UK and
Right.
France and Spain. Um, and it, we're in the midst of launching this tea brand, which
Mm-hmm.
which is called Cloudline Tea. And
Mm-hmm.
I've been actually using tea as a source of fuel for many, many years. And so this was the time where we're now post COVID, we're like, okay, we can do agriculture product now.
Yeah.
So as a result of that, London's a big tea drinking country or city. So we launched the tea there with some friends of mine who own some running stores out there. And I was able to weave in all these training runs with a real good buddy of mine, Fran. And we went on our first Brant prescribed hard run, I would say,
Yeah.
in the rain, freezing cold in the Royal Parks of London. And I said to him, I'm like, hey man, I got BQ, and he's my age, 50-ish. He's like, I said, but I need to warm up for 30 minutes. And then he's like, he's one of those guys that just runs fast off like
Yeah.
his natural VO2 max is probably 1,000. I'm being hyperbolic. So I do 30 minutes warm up in the park, and like it's kind of like almost like an on time departure. I'm running and he just joins next to me like this, and then
Yeah.
we go, I think 7.5 minute pace
Yeah.
or whatever I think that was marathon pace or
Yeah. M
that
pace.
day,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
pace. And we finished, and he went back to the store to work, and then I finished off with a local park run.
Oh,
They
nice.
have those park.
Yeah.
So I think I did my 2 hour run that way that day, 2.5 hour run that day.
Yeah.
And then I went to Annecy next to
Yeah.
France. And again, pouring rain. Da, 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 da. I was just like, just do it. So
Yep.
I think when you have really finite goals, such as turning 50, Boston qualify, he would look bad if you don't. There's a lot of motivation, and I've failed so many times with BQ, right?
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
323, 324, 328, 327. Like, it's like, this is like a serious deal for me.
Yeah.
So I took the training like super serious. And I
So
think,
what do you think was different then? Sorry, but like I think that's a key thing to look at is you've tried a bunch of times, and this isn't me trying to plug it,
oh,
but what do
oh
you
no.
think was different in the training that led you to being successful this go around?
I think first, don't chase BQ, you know. So I had a taste of it when I somehow got 3:33 in LA Marathon without training. I didn't even look at my watch. I was like passing people like, oh my God, I got a lot fitter. And this is 10, 15 years in the making. And so what really changed was I never really trained to run a marathon. I
Mm.
don't know these drills that you're like, I think we did a 1K repeat and I did it in Charleston, South Carolina. I'm like,
Yeah.
what is this 1K repeat? It was hard, man. It was like one of those drills. And I've never done any of those drills before.
Yeah.
Never. The only drills I've really done was maybe 30 minutes steady state, 30 minutes off, and then maybe some, intervals, some fartleks, but nothing as specific. I think those drills and how you place them strategically on a Tuesday, and then 2 days later I do the long run, and those intervals really gave me this confidence that like, oh, running 7:37 isn't that like I was at the start line and because like this doesn't feel that hard.
Yeah.
Am I doing this stuff right? You know, and even after the race, because of this periodization you do,
Yeah.
I wasn't like spent. I wasn't
Yeah.
like I am done. I was like, yeah, I ran yesterday a couple miles, Western States pace, 14-minute
Yeah.
miles, but I think that's the right way to train is you don't need to the suffering is moderate, so it's like you don't need
Yeah.
to like suffer that much. Like I BQ'd at 53:19. I wasn't like suffering.
Yeah.
I was like regular, you know it was equivalent to our Tuesday run, right? The
Yeah.
Tuesday speed session, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That kind of suffering, and so everything felt familiar and everything had a reference point, like mile 23. Okay, you're going deeper now. Remember, you did these drills. I know where like feels about the same. Yeah, you can hold this for 3 miles easy, no problem. And that's how you emphasize the training, which is you should be able to hold tempo pace for 45 minutes to a minute, an hour. It's like, oh man, did I go too fast? So every time I finish one of your drills, I'm like, dude, I went too fast. Dude, I went. So it started off when the training was, I would go too fast and then slowly towards the end, it started to adjust. I'm like, oh, I'm starting to get a hold, understand this pacing stuff from a road point of view, right?
Yeah.
Because in trails, like you try pacing,
Yeah. It's just effort,
undulating trail
right? You have to
14,
do
like
effort.
20, like try. So I really like the precision of being able to track that process. And also somewhere along the line, I got it. This is a plug to Chorus. Good job, guys. I have no affiliation with, but the armband heart rate thing,
Armband. Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
it's precise. So now after the run, I can look at my data, not during. I really rarely use it during,
Yeah.
but towards after you finish, you have some level of somewhat precise data. You look, oh, the effort was consistent with the cadence, the effort. So here's one thing I did do was whenever I felt like I was slowing down and I didn't want to use too much effort, I just increased my step rate,
Green.
instead of like raise your knee or stuff like that. I just started
Yeah.
to, and then that kind of modulated my anxiety sometimes. And those
It,
are,
it,
yeah.
it's interesting you mentioned the chorus heartband because it's something that so for us working together we had the road marathon first and then we're going to the trail, the ultra side, right? Which I like that order, in particular for this reason, because what we did, what you're saying about like the precision of the workouts and the pacing of the harder workouts, etc., right? All of that is amazing data as we transition to the trails to be like, okay, I want you doing let's say it's 8 by 1K, but we're going on trails, so maybe we'll say 4 minutes or something, right? And I want it to be equivalent stimulus to what you were doing on the road for that. It's like we can go back to that heart rate data now, and that's our reference point with our PE is the heart rate
Yes.
data, right? So I think that's a very valuable piece for trail runners, and I think you're starting to see some trail runners do workouts on the road and the treadmill to
Hmm.
get that calibration of the high end kind of like aerobic stimulus, VO2 max tempo stuff, and then keeping a lot of their easy stuff, strength stuff on the trails as well. So I think it's going to suit you well as we move towards kind of the ultra goals.
I'm excited. Yeah. Like next goal is Western States 100. It's a fast race, of course.
Yeah.
And I think taking that speed, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
into that arena, I'm excited to see what we can do together. Um, and see, obviously there are so many nuances. The weather,
Yeah. Yeah.
snow,
Nutrition. Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so all of those play a key factor. But I think going back to the original uh foundation, it's like I believed, like I watched enough of your videos before I subscribed to your service, and you just have to follow it. Like I think the only one there's only one workout I didn't follow to the T, which was Friday leading up to the race, the Friday
Oh, when
before.
you were, yeah,
I
at
was
Fleet
in
Feet.
North
Yeah. Yeah.
Carolina. Yeah, I was doing a run with my friend at Fleet Feet.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, we're probably not gonna do, I think it was 30-second on, 30 or a minute,
Yeah.
like,
It was a little fartlek workout because we were like a
yeah.
week out. But yeah.
Which I understood and it totally made sense. But then the following Tuesday, you prescribed a similar workout where we're going
Yeah. A little bit longer.
fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that did the trick for me. So I was like, oh, that was good. And then you're like, Friday, I don't want you to run. And I ran every day,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. You
And
did. Yeah.
for 3 months or so,
Yeah.
no problems. Like
Yeah.
I generally run every day if I mean, there are
Yeah.
very like recovery days. And funny, you and I, you and I never established like, is this recovery day or not? It's like you run as fast as you can run.
Yeah. Just run that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Run
your
what you need
body
those
will,
days.
you'll know because Tuesday is going to be a tough day. And then
Yeah.
a few days from, and I did my long runs on Fridays, right? So it's
Yeah.
Tuesday, Friday. And so you self-modulate. So I urge people to like self-modulate too, you know? And I got a lot of value from our relationship because I just had to just like if you trust the system, just follow the system. And I think that's what gave me a lot of comfort. Like I didn't have to second guess like was Brent know what he's doing? Like never crossed my mind. I was like more like I was more curious like, ooh, what are we doing next week? Very
Well,
exciting, for me. Yeah.
it is interesting because when, how will I phrase this? When you coach an individual and you're like as high touch as I, like we're talking every day, if not almost every other day
You
at the
you
worst,
are
right?
super responsive. And I know we stayed off, like we never, I still don't have your phone number in my phone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I think we had a report. It was like, we have so many things coming at us every
yep,
day. This
yep,
email, this phone, that phone. I was like, I'm gonna keep this email like precise with Brant, and I know you always respond within certain, Sunday doesn't matter Sunday, Saturday, like
doesn't
seven
matter.
days a
Yeah,
week, like doesn't matter. It's like I could depend on that feedback, but we also know it's like, dude, I'm not paying him $30,000 a month to do
yeah.
this. And it's like, let's be respectful. And I think we built a nice rapport
Oh,
where
easy. Yeah.
we're like, and uh, I thought that was really important because
So
yeah, to the
no, no,
entire
go ahead. Sorry. Yeah,
experience. Yeah,
yeah,
the expectation was he always gives me feedback. I trust his plan. And I think I took on a service the week before where I like, okay, I'm gonna spend 25 minutes with Brent on
yeah,
the on his video session, which is a
yeah,
different price point, but I
yeah.
didn't need to use that every day. It's like that's great, like that gave me some comfort too. And I think I talked to you when I was driving in North Carolina,
Yeah, you did. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
That's
which was
right.
it was
And
fun. It's like, yeah.
it's interesting though because as I was saying, I like to be high touch and communicative because that's how I learn about you. And it was how we were able to, that day you kind of texted me the night before that Friday workout we were talking about, where it's like, I don't think I'm going to be able to get this in because I know I'm running with these people and I've got this in,
Yeah.
right? And I can easily respond to that because I'm like, okay, well, we've done all these things. He's in a good place. And it's like, I know this is important from a business perspective for him to like see his friends and meet them. And that's where that individual coaching comes in, right? Where it's like, it doesn't matter that I wrote a plan. The plan's only as good as the information I have when I write it on the Friday or Saturday
Yeah.
for the week. But it's interesting. The most hate I've got in terms of dislikes on a YouTube video is I think we put out a short that said, coaches, you're coaching humans, not spreadsheets. It was like the most dislikes I've had on any. Like, I try not to be controversial at all. Like, that's not my style. And, but this is exactly why, because you get something like that and you've got this rapport. So you as an athlete isn't afraid to be like, hey, Brent, I've got this like, work thing and meeting thing and run thing. Can I do this? It's like, yeah, we'll just check in. And, I might say to you, hey, we really got to hit this one. But at that point, you're healthy, you're ready. I knew you'd get a lot out of it in terms of fun and enjoyment and all those things. And I think that's the beauty of actual individual coaching rather than plan-based coaching that some people. And I'm not bashing plans, to be clear,
Yeah.
but you get that like touch where it's like you still get the confidence and everything you need in the communication, even though you have to deviate.
I think it's so. I think there's two prongs. The first prong is we just started working together. Probably quickly it'll be half a year,
3 months,
almost
yeah,
half
yeah,
a. Oh
four
yeah,
months, something
but
like that, yeah.
yeah. So for 4 or 5, like I'm starting to understand. And in the beginning, as a guy, how you feel, like you always ask, how do you feel? How do you feel? I'm like, I don't know how to answer that question. You know, like
Yeah,
I just don't know how. Like I know how I feel, but the nuances. Every day I feel I'm gonna feel tired, less tired,
yeah,
more tired, very tired, or the nuance there. So then I have to like self-modulate. Like when do I say, Brant, this is not a runnable day? And
yeah,
I haven't done that. And so
yeah,
luckily I haven't had to, but I ran through a few colds, right? One London, I'm
yeah,
like
yeah, a little bit,
literally
yeah,
80% down, but I also had introspection, which is like, dude, this is not DEF CON.
yeah.
Like
This
I
is the
have a
sniffles. It's
the,
not
the,
there.
the DEF CON 6. Like you have your own internal kind of range, but I know if we go on this next training block, and I'm like, hey, I'm not. You're like, oh, okay,
Right.
this guy's not
Well,
feeling good. Yeah.
you brought up something interesting, and I hadn't thought it through this way, but your point made me think about it because I've always seen the question that I ask all the time, "How are you feeling?" as valuable for me, right? Because I get all the quantitative data, right? And I can look at pace time, weather, heart rate, like I get all of it, right? And I look at that data and I want to know, okay, well, how did he feel at this? Because that only tells kind of half to 2/3 of the story, right? But I'd never thought of it as a very interesting point that it forces you to have internal calibration as the athlete. And so that's really interesting to me, which makes that question even more powerful, as much as it's probably repetitive to my athletes, where it's like, how are you feeling today? But that's a very interesting point. I appreciate you saying that because now it makes me think that that question's even more powerful if used the right way, because then athletes are doing that triangulation themselves, where it's another layer of having to ask themselves, how is it I felt today? So they can triangulate that with their data. So if they've got to make audibles like that day, you're a little bit more educated towards that. So thanks for pointing that out because that's a great piece of information.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean the every day when you expect the question, then you also
Yeah,
self-assess, right? Like, and then you're like, well, like when I was in London and we did that tempo run with the MP pace with my buddy, I
yeah,
was like, I was not 100%, but I did it, but I knew I could do it.
mhm,
And you just have to take a nap afterwards,
yeah,
so those are days like that. Or and it's like, and then I also have enough experience where leading up to the race I'm like, you're not going to feel good tapering.
mhm,
You
yeah.
just don't feel good when you're tapering
And
every
you had
like.
travel. You had travel
Yeah.
on the tape the final
And
week. Yeah,
so I had to drive from like, not had, I enjoyed a
yeah,
drive. I drove from North Carolina to South Carolina, which is like a
yeah,
5 hour drive or so. So,
yeah,
you push the accelerator. So my hamstring was like a little tight. And, you get nervous, but then I've been running for so long that I'll go away, dude. Just relax.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So knowing yourself is also trusting yourself is
mhm,
an important part of this process too. And I think that's something that I brought. uh into this training block with you is like being more aware of how I feel. So
Hmm.
without ringing any like alarms, or I would text you, I would email you and I would say, and I think you can tell, like I somehow like he knows I'm running 11-minute miles. I'm recovering.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
and then there are days where I'm like bouncing around in 9-minute miles, or there are days when I text you, I'm like, I'm in flow state, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
And
was, yeah,
I was gonna say that's an interesting point and probably great for viewers to hear. It's like you had a breakthrough, you BQ'd, and a lot of the times when we're thinking ahead to what that build or what that race might look like, we're like, it'll be roses, I'm fit, everything's good, and it's like, no, no, no. A lot of people, when they're going through big breakthrough builds, will have days that suck, days that are good, a lot of days that are just okay. I just talked to Dakota Popin about this recently. I think that episode's live, and
yeah,
she said
it
that
was a
the
good
builds
episode.
that yeah. Oh, she's amazing. She said
Amazing.
the builds that she crushed the workouts the most in were her worst races.
Yeah, yeah.
And I thought
It,
that's really interesting because it reinforced something I had seen. Now, I've never coached anyone at Dakota's level. The 212 that I've coached is pretty good, but I haven't coached somebody who's 12th at the Olympics, right? So to hear that reinforced is a great lesson for all of us, especially, right? Think about it. Dakota's a pro athlete. She's, got great
yeah.
coaching. She's got everything going on for her. And she still has to suck and suffer sometimes and not feel great. I think it's super powerful to hear that from people like Dakota, yourself, who just had a breakthrough. So those of us who are thinking about what we want to do at the next level and the next step, don't romanticize how easy it's going to be, because eventually you just get frustrated when it's not easy and think, oh, I'm screwed, I'm not fit enough, I can't do it,
Well,
whatever, right? But it's a great lesson to have.
yeah, it sure is. I think, I mean, I ran, to think about it, I ran every day from November up until last week. I
2021st.
had one flow state run, one,
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Yeah.
one in San Luis Obispo
Yeah.
area when I was driving from NorCal back to SoCal. I parked at a hotel, and that night I was like, I'm just gonna go and do this run. I was running flow state, 8-minute miles, 7-minute miles, rolling to. I was like, I feel nothing. I feel
Yeah.
incredible. And then I emailed you.
Yeah. Yeah. I got that email.
And
Yeah.
then in my head I was like, man, I hope you're not periodizing the wrong time right now. Like, why are you
Yeah. Yeah.
feeling so good right now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Save it for race day. So, anyways, yeah, those are the nuances in training that I think is so interesting because, to your point, we tend to romanticize these training blocks like it should be a man. It's all over the place because
Yeah.
you have life stressors that confound how you feel that day, morning, night. HRV may be good now, may be terrible in the afternoon because of the stress levels at work, so forth and so on. So I think, yeah, uh but I think, to your credit, I'm very impressed with how I'm just impressed with how responsive you are. It's like, first I was like, does this guy rest? Because I was like, it's
Yeah.
like Sunday. Does he text back on Sunday? You
Yep.
know,
Yeah.
yes, yes, he does. So it's like the psychology is you don't necessarily just have a coach. You also, I think both you and I have backgrounds in psychology.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
actually a clinician. I did a master's on psychology, but I never really practiced like you did. But it's like really nice not just to have someone give you a training plan,
Mhm.
but there's a human on the other end assessing you on a longitudinal basis.
Yeah.
And and on that basis, you're no matter what, you have a feeling as to how I'm progressing,
Yep.
versus I'm not sure that feeling can be achieved with Strava or Strava Pro, or like I just don't know, how accurate. So uh, I think it's not just training plans, it's not just psychology, it's not just chats every day. It's like this all-encompassing uh, circle of non-tangible, tangible things that keep someone like myself engaged in what I love most, other than my family, doing startups, is
Mhm.
is being able to share these are very intimate
Sure.
agendas.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know, like I'm
I'll try to put this succinctly. I haven't formalized this thought process all that well, I suppose, but I teased this out from years of working with my mentor, who I'm fortunate enough to taught me everything I know, and we worked a lot in the high performance world, and we both always agreed that it doesn't matter whether you're trying to make an Olympic team or you're trying to make a BQ or you're trying to run your first race. Like running for a lot of people has this special place as like a goal, lifestyle, running practice, whatever you want to call it. And when you hire a coach, you're giving them that goal, right? And how often in life do we say to someone outside of maybe our intimate partner or our relationships, here's my goal, I'm going to give it to you and I need
mm-hmm.
your support with it,
Yeah.
right? And so I've always took that charge and that idea where it's like, if somebody's giving me that goal, I have a responsibility to show up for that person, for that goal in terms of what it is they're doing. And so there's obviously a business side of this. I'd be like an idiot, like, oh, I just do this for the people. Like, there is a business side. Everybody recognizes if you're paying a coach, it's a service in the same way you pay your physio, your chiro, whatever. But I try to actually treat it as if I'm working with a person and their goals rather than you're paying me X, I give you Y, right? So rather than that like purely transactional piece, it's like, how can this be transformational for the athlete? And I say this to athletes all the time, like, I want you to have the information. So if one day you move on and you don't require my service, you don't want them, you need to take a break or whatever, you have information because we've talked so much that you can make those audibles, you can make those plans for yourself. And so it's really fun when people trust me with that goal. And that's why I love communicating. It's not work to me to be like 8 o'clock on a Sunday responding to people's long runs and stuff. It's like, I actually like that piece because I'm getting to communicate with a bunch of people who have trusted me with their goals, who love what they're doing. That's a blast.
Yeah.
I'm lucky.
Yeah, we definitely love what we're doing. You can't, there's no, I mean, yeah, it's so if your choice is and you love running, you're like, hey, I'm on a budget. This is we're all on budgets, right? Especially
Yeah.
family. So it's like, all right, do I get the Frappuccino in the morning for $6? Which is $6 these days, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't drink it, but I'm just trying to cite a
Yeah.
reference most people can relate to. Or do I invest it in something I really love daily? And what risk, the reward, there's no risk, the reward is just net positive, right? There's no sugar in this drink, it's not going to kill you. So I think people oftentimes, and I've been in this world for a while and observed a lot of relationships in coaching and what it's like, it's it's really important to find the right coach for you.
Agreed. Yeah.
That's it. It's a discovery process, and not every coach is going to be your style, and not every client's going to be your style. So I think it's really healthy for people to explore. You know, what do I like? But give your coach. I think it's fair to give everybody one full block or even two, because this stuff takes time. It really does. It's not an elixir. It's not a pill you take it and you're
Yeah.
this is a human, yeah. That's my
It's
10 cents on this, yeah.
it's interesting. I tell people oftentimes, I'm not the one running the miles for you. So right, so you have to be the one to decide that this is the type of coach, this is the type of programming that I want. The thing that I will tell you, I will be there. I'll be your cheerleader and your harshest critic when needed, because you need both sides of the coin. Otherwise, the currency of being the cheerleader gets devalued if you're not willing to also be the critic when things need to be changed, right? And so I think for a lot of people, you're correct. Like, finding a coach that fits what you're looking for, right? And it can be hard, but there's so many coaches out there now, like, that are doing good stuff. There's coaches that are doing bad stuff, like every profession. There's good and bad. But I think if you find that person that values aligns, style aligns, communication aligns, all those type of things, it's gonna break your running practice and your goals that much better, more achievable, whatever kind of output you want to look to it. So it's honestly, I think I said this in one of my videos that just came out this week. The best part of this whole YouTube experience, I'm not a social media guy. If you go on my social media, like collaborative post, I don't run my social media. I don't do social media, but like literally getting people commenting about their journey, about like marathons and what they're trying to do and accomplishment and the questions where they're trying to chase their goals. That is the best friggin' part of this whole thing. Like I'll keep doing it because of that, because it's a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really joyful to see it. There's two, there's three finish lines that we share this kind of sensation, right? The Ironman, cut off at midnight where everyone's
Yeah,
got, coming through. That's a special moment. Western States finishing under 30 hours. BQ is another one. And I'm sure and I'm sure I'm not citing other major accomplishments like finishing your first marathon or
sure. Yeah,
sub four, all these, you get to witness all that. I mean, that brings a lot of joy in your life,
totally.
that's really good. That's like good energy, positive energy. And I think
It's
that, yeah, that's a
I was
special.
gonna say it's so special. There's a couple weekends a year that I love because there's a density of races,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'm fortunate to coach lots of people that are doing races all over the world and such. And so there's a couple of these weekends like in the fall or a couple week span in the fall in particular where it's like every weekend is like boom 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 boom. And that's one of the reasons why I've started interviewing athletes like you because it's like there is something so cool to like I think maybe it's just because I'm a nerd, maybe nobody else will like this, but seeing athletes like achieve that goal and hearing about it. Like I just think that's the coolest thing in the world because there's so many of us chasing this stuff and like
Oh,
even if you pick up a tidbit from it, but that contagious feeling of athletes achieving something. Like most of us get in this sport because we're challenging ourselves. We want to see our limits. We want to explore how good we can be. We're competitive, whatever it is, right? And so to see that that's alive and well in so many of us, I think is beautiful.
and yeah, and also to urge people, like, I visit running stores every week.
Mm-hmm.
Every
Yep.
week, I'm with a running store, and every running store has their default coach, their default group,
Yep.
their default this, and I think not you get to it, this is the old, like, I'm a Gen Xer, right? It's like you
Totally.
show up, there's one coach, everyone does what the coach does. It
Yep.
doesn't matter you're female, male, young, old, silver, like doesn't matter, you just fall. Well, I don't think that's the right way. I
Yep.
think coaching's individualized. You can get a general premise. Maybe that coach showing up at that run store is correct for A, C, D, and Z,
Yep.
but
Or getting
there
people into it.
or
Yeah.
getting people into it, which is the most remarkable. And we should praise that individual because a lot of times they sacrifice their salaries, and a lot of times
Mm-hmm.
they don't even want your money. They just want to
Yeah,
help you.
absolutely. They're so giving. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so giving. But if you want to have that individualized experience, it's like take the time, find a person that you think's right with for you, test it out. Maybe it is, maybe it's not, and then try somebody. Like, I think it's a journey, and
Mm-hmm.
sometimes I think it's also healthy to say, oh, at that period in time that coach was not right for me, well, maybe
Mm-hmm.
this coach is right for me now. You know what I mean? And I think that's a healthy way. This is kind of how I've evolved in looking at coaching is, but I wanted to work with a Canadian. I have very good,
Yeah.
my friends, I have great friends that are Canadian. That was really the trigger. I'm like, Canadian, and, with your accolades, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll work with this guy,
I appreciate
plus you
that.
have the
We're great people.
psychology. The, you guys really are. I'm being I mean,
Yeah.
being genuine about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, no, I
Have nothing
appreciate
but
that.
great experiences. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Not
so
to say
on that,
Americans aren't good. I'm just saying
yeah,
my
yeah,
s-
yeah.
my style res my style fits a little bit better with Canadians sometimes. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you that because if we can segue here to some of the entrepreneurship stuff, because a lot of those connections, like meeting Canadians and such, has been through some of your entrepreneurship. And
Yeah.
what do you see? Like, I'm very entrepreneurial.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've said this publicly before, but when I was 22 or 23, I purchased a pizza franchise for my family. So it's equivalent of a Domino's for the American listeners, kind of thing. It's our Canadian version. It's much crappier, I can say that. But and I definitely would say I failed at that for sure. Like looking back on it, like I mean, nobody at 23, they should not have given it to me at 23. I was an idiot for sure. Um, but I think there's a lot of parallels between entrepreneurship and distance running. You know, namely the first one being delayed gratification, right? Like you have to do a whole bunch of things to hope that things go well, really, right? Like we take calculated risks and such. But what do you see as the parallels, or what strengths do you pull on
You
as
have
a,
50,
serial entrepreneur, I should probably say,
I am
that's
serial.
helped you with running?
I am serial. I am a true entrepreneur. I wear that proudly. Uh, I fail every day. I fail more than I succeed. The ratio is probably 9 to 1.
Yep.
For every 9 failures, I may have one glimpse of success, and it's devastating because I don't live a 9 to 5 life and I fail. I fail for a living. That's what entrepreneurship is, failing for a living, and then getting up, picking yourself back up. A lot of times your wife helps you. I have a great wife.
Yeah, very much.
She's
Yep.
like, "Hey man, da, da, da." Like we all need a cheerleader. Now it's
Yep.
my daughter. For
Mhm.
my 50th, she made me this. It's
Yeah.
called a stress reliever. Man, it works well.
Yeah.
So, y- and the parallel is simple. I think I tried to BQ like 8 times.
There's your 9 and 1. Yeah,
That
right
nine
there.
and
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
There you go. I started many companies, failed, failed, and I have a. But I think through failure you learn,
Mhm.
like pacing, how to find the right coach, finding the right mentor, right business partners. It's all collaborative.
Yeah.
And I think I'm at a place right now, at least with a few of my uh, businesses that I'm doing right now. First, you have to love it. First, you
Yep.
have to love it. You have to believe in what you're uh, entrepreneuring for. Like for me, I'm sharing the best organic tea on the planet right now with my peers in the running industry. And I know Kenyans drink it. I know Sherpas drink it. I know I drink it. I know it's good for health. So I feel very motivated to do it. It's not going to sell like Morton. It's like, it's
Yep.
not the race days, but it's good for you. So I feel very proud to do that and share that with runners. So, and I also, as you become a father, you need that reflection to be positive for your children.
Mhm.
So, and I think that gives me that motivation to kind of fall down, get up, keep going. But at the end of the day, the motivation of serial entrepreneurship comes from failure because you're just like, I can do it. I know I can do it. I know I can get that. But it's like you go out, it's like, and business is not like you go home and sleep. Business is you fail,
Yeah.
you owe money, or you run out of money and you have to raise more capital. You have to keep going, and it's true for everyone. Whether you're, uh, I know, you know, the the it, like Amazon, right?
Yep.
Amazon. If you go to, I believe, www.resilient.com, it leads you to Amazon.com.
That's hilarious.
What does that tell you? You
Yeah.
have to be resilient, but you have to pick the right lane, right? You don't want to be a resilient person doing harm to the
Mhm.
world. So but the parallels are fall down, get up, keep going. The wins in serial entrepreneurship, like running, is bittersweet. You taste, I think, like BQ, like that moment when you BQ, wow, wow, right? And then next day it's like back to work.
Back to normal.
It's
Yeah.
like, it's
L-
like, yeah.
let me ask you this, because this is something I've had asked of me, and I think, and I'm not trying to say like I've had this horrible go of things. Everybody's had struggles throughout their lives, right? It's
Yeah.
the like the most common thing across humanity is suffering, really, right?
It's a constant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And so I had somebody ask me this a couple of years ago. They said, how do you keep like trying things and building things and doing things? I wasn't sure how to answer it. And I want to see if maybe you think this way too. And I eventually came up with the answer of, I don't know how and I don't know why, but I have this feeling that I'll figure it out, win, lose, or draw. Does that resonate with you? Like, you've got far more experience in this world,
Uh,
like this domain than I do, but
that only means I failed more than you in building
fair enough.
businesses.
Yeah.
They, I'm not sure how to answer that question completely, but I can tell you circumstantially, like you can sit here and not take risks
Sure.
and live out a peaceful life, watch your sugar intake, do your step counting, and have a very peaceful life, work for someone 5 to 9, no, sorry, 9 to 5, and do the weekend things and be on a system. What it boils down to, Brant, out of my years and years of introspection, genetics and personality. I
Yeah.
was born this way.
Yeah.
I really was born this way. I've always just wanted to do my own business. So I used to think I'm better this way, you're not. It's just like, hey, this isn't for everybody, neither is
Mhm.
9 to 5. So
Yeah.
pick the lane that you find some level of comfort in, but don't be too comfortable because comfort doesn't build progress in
Yep.
my opinion.
Yeah.
You have to have challenges in life. And for me, that's building companies and running. For other people, and I see this, is and I see this and I admire this, is they spend a lot of time with their children, making their children the 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 success of their life.
Sure.
Put a lot of stress on the children, but
Hmm.
but if you take that judgment off, it's like takes a lot of patience, takes a lot of dedication to be a good parent, to get your kids to these incredible schools. I'm not sure I'm doing that part of the bargain. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I sure know my kids can go to school and say, running is something that is not foreign to them, and I know that at some point that what I do on a daily basis will rub off on them, so that they're like, oh yeah, dad runs every day, and maybe there's something to it when they're 20.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it's people like you and I who are more entrepreneurial. Let's just own it,
Hmm.
deal with it, enjoy it, and then uh find ways to keep a healthy relationship with it. And I think that's hard, right? Because it's so intense. You know, if you look back on our splits, like as a 50-year-old, you're running 7.5 minute miles for 26 miles. That's intense. I remember reflecting on running that pace when I was in my 30s, and that was intense. So it's like finding your cohort of friends, coaches, family that you can share the journey with is important to why you do this every day, right? Because at the end of the day, when you accomplish something, Brent, it's like you want to tell your wife, like,
Yeah.
I'm not like first person I called was my wife
Yeah.
when I BQ, like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And then second thing is like I want to share this moment with my coach because I thought you would feel good, I would feel good, like we
Yeah.
both feel.
Absolutely. Yeah. For
So
sure.
yeah, and I think that those parallels are in running, especially for people like us, which we like hard goals and we like to strive for them. But they exist in everyday life, minute by minute. Like the parent right now taking their kids every day to school to drop that, dude, that's a marathon. I
Mhm.
have two. Some people have three, four, and they're on their own system. Doesn't make us any better than them, any worse than them. It just we have different passions in life. And that's what I think makes this world such a unique, wonderful place, right? If everybody liked running, there would be a
That's
problem
pretty
too.
boring. Yeah.
There would be a problem too, right? So I don't know if I answered your question directly, but that's kind of my introspection um,
Yeah. No, I
thus far.
appreciate it. I think I've always thought, no matter what it is, business, relationship, school, work, running, whatever, you get out of it what you put into it, and sometimes we struggle with the trade-off equation. So like I believe that everything is a trade-off. If I'm trading to
Yes.
run, it's time that I'm trading from business with my wife, with my
Yes.
family, whatever, right?
Yes.
And but I think what happens is a lot of the time we just look at that surface level trade-off. I'm running right now and I could be doing this. And it's like, okay, in this exact moment, for these 60 minutes, you're absolutely correct, right? But I know that some of my best ideas and my best, like, I got to figure out this conversation that my wife and I are having, or, my clients are having, or whatever, it comes from those 60 minutes of running. And if you were to actually write down the trade offs and what you're getting from this, right? Like, at least for me, that's where I can justify the trade off on it. And I think that's what entrepreneurs, like serial business starters, do all the time. If I can do this and I get to this and I help these people and I make a market or increase a market or a buyout at the end, whatever the end goal is, right? It's the same thing. And I think that's what's like why you see so many uh, business people, leaders, entrepreneurs coming to running, because they get so much out of that value. Like the 60 minutes isn't just my heart rate was zone 2 for 60 minutes.
No.
It's boom,
Yeah.
boom, 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 all these things they get. Would you
I,
agree?
I, I, do I agree? I can't, I couldn't, I don't know how to describe this to people. It's
Yeah.
like a metrodome. The last 7 minutes of my run, some brilliant ideas comes to my head. It's like, oh, that's how you solve it. Oh, and that would not have come at mile
Yeah.
minute 33, 34, 35. Remember I texted you one time? I'm like,
Yeah.
sometimes you just have to run more than 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you take that idea and you like hold on to it. Sometimes it goes away, sometimes it doesn't. But guess what? It'll be there again tomorrow. So there's this moment of clarity that you get towards the tail end of the run. It's not dopamine per se, it's clarity.
It's clarity. Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah.
it's clarity. And just to bring that back to the BQ real quick, it's like I
Yeah.
didn't listen to music the entire way until about 6 mile 17. I used it as a reward mechanism.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but yeah, going back to that is like it's so important to understand that to Fleet Feet, what they call, like I was in their office, like running changes
Yeah.
everything. It
Yeah.
for me, it changed everything. And it's the gift that keeps giving back to you. Okay, you're gonna have injuries, but you and I both know, hey, you play basketball, you're gonna have injury. You play soccer,
Any
yeah, you
sport.
play ping pong, any,
Yeah.
but dexterity builds off of consistency.
Yeah.
Dexterity. So you have to build that base layer of dexterity over years. I've been running since 2010, it's been 16 years. And I remember shin splints, pain. Like I got all that. But I run 7 days a week. I have no knee pain. Fingers crossed. But
Yeah.
I'm sure with everything, there's use, there's wear down, everything. So you
Yeah.
have to pick where you want to wear your body down. I prefer to wear my body down in running because I get the best bang for my buck wearing down my body that way. And I think that's something that everyone has to put into their own judgment. Yeah, is ultra running a little extreme? Yeah, yeah, but yeah, it could be. Yeah, but I feel healthy. I am healthy, and I think that's another piece of the puzzle that oftentimes people don't quite understand is when you're 50 years old and you can feel how I feel, you would want it. You can't
Yeah.
buy it. Just you cannot buy it. You can't go to Shopify and click, I want this, vroom,
Yeah.
and then you get, no, this is just years and years of consistency, getting at 4 or 5, and then doing the run, sharing it with group runs or, that consistency pays out. There is no shortcut in life is my point. Like building a business, the parallel is there's no such thing as, oh yeah, I got a 3-year plan. The exit's gonna
Yeah.
be,
Good luck.
if it's
Yeah.
not a 10, 15-year endeavor, good luck, man. Those time horizons for return on investment. Anyone that thinks it's like a short term process is greatly mistaken. You know.
It's funny. What's that? I believe the quote slash joke is, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plan.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
yeah,
And I think I get this all the time with the runners saying, so what's the plan for the next 3 months? And I was like, I can tell you what the plan for the next week is, but I don't know. You're going
yeah,
to get sick. You're going to have
yeah,
family stuff. You're going to have travel. You're going to
yeah,
not respond well.
yeah.
And I think that's where it's tough for a lot of us is we like that control piece, right? We want it. Here's the plan. What is it? And I think when you failed a lot, as we both described, we have. I'm very open when I talk to my athletes about that I've failed too. It opens you up to understand and see the nuance a little bit more and not be as like, oh my God, I have to hit to be successful. It's like there's going to be, like we talked about, you had one flow state run, but you're up and down throughout an entire build. And I think that's a super valuable lesson for people, especially if they're high in trait neuroticism when they get into running, which is a lot of people.
Hmm. Yeah, I think you in running, there's so many parallels. Like you almost like in mile 21, 22, you're very careful. You're like, take it easy. 23 may
Yeah.
not be good. 23 may not be good. There's no guarantees. There's no
Yeah.
guarantees. There is, however, if you are comping, same feeling, same feeling body, that if you're well trained, you don't have to go to the well the way
Mm-hmm.
that you see it on YouTube, like dig hard, do this.
Right.
Get like, dude, take it easy, man. Like, just get in the miles, finish the race. You're not gonna have to dig that deep. I think that's a really important note.
Yeah.
It's like, I appreciate David Goggins. I get it. I get all that. You know, I get all that, but I can think it doesn't need to be that kind of suffering
Yeah.
to
Well, it's
BQ.
not sustainable. It's
No.
great to get you active. I think the best thing David Goggins has done is probably given people direction to get into movement. But if you want something that's sustainable, and you can see this even in his career path, he's had multiple periods where he's been down and out,
Yeah.
surgeries, years, months without racing. It's not a sustainable way to do it. And I think um, oftentimes, if you think about what's best for the future, you'll figure out what's best for the short term. So what's good in the long term is good in the short term. And if we lead that way and we think that way about our running, it causes us to probably make better decisions on the day rather than making those short term decisions that we um, maybe cathartically feel like we need that day.
Yeah. I'll give credit where credit is due. David Goggins, Audible, 2 books on my phone. I
Yep.
use it sometimes. Sometimes
Yep.
where I'm like, man, Goggins could do it. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
you need that kind, but some days you need a more therapeutic approach. Some
Yep.
days you need it. So I think it's not binary life. Life isn't binary, right? It's so different every day. So it's like how you adjust to how you feel, how fast you run has parallels to how you live your life. Like some days I drink more tea, some days I drink less tea. There are days and I tell people if I got 2 hours of sleep, and I'm on a jet and I need to be awake, maybe I'm taking espresso that day. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it's like pick your tools. You have different tools in the toolbox, long run, slow run, this coach, family. Like I think the trick to life is using these tools at the right moment to make yourself, you know, feel like you can comprehend what you're doing at that moment, and being present at that moment, I think is something that constantly learning, Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. Fantastic. Well, probably a good place to wrap up. I appreciate you
Hey,
taking the time, man. It's been great to celebrate this milestone with you, and can't wait to see what we do at
it's
Western States.
yeah, Western States in June. Let's see what we can do. Yeah,
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, we're gonna go after the medal.
Yeah. We gotta get the right color this time.
Oh, it's gonna be hard. This will be a few. I believe we will get there. I believe we will get there at some point. In this type of
Awesome.
training block, I believe it.
Right on. Let's roll, man.
Thanks, man.